Hello everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you on the behalf of the Institute Technical Council IIT Bombay. Today's talk is entitled But What Exactly is Technological Innovations Aerial Technology? I would like to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Dinesh Sai. Mr. Dinesh Sai has completed his BTech in Aerospace Engineering from IIT Bombay in 2014 and went on to become the co-founder and the COO of Drona Aviation, his own startup. He was the manager of the Aeromodeling Club during his stay in the institute. Over to you, Dinesh.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Guys, I'm Dinesh. So should I start presenting right now? Hello.
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, it's really good to be here in front of you all. Thank you, Roshni and the team, Institute Technical Council, for allowing me to share my personal and professional experience with learnings with you all. So thanks for that. So like all of you guys, I got a chance to learn from IIT Bombay, and I graduated in 2014 aerospace from aerospace department. During my time in IIT Bombay, even I was part of student technical activities body. That time we used to call it STAB. I guess you call it now Institute Technical Council. So yeah, so I was manager of Aero Modeling Club during the session 2012 and 13. Uh, while so you must in our life, most of us must have fantasized about the flying, the flight, and how we can make things to fly. So if you all remember, while in our childhood playing, we used to make paper planes, and they were not in our control. But they were not in our control. Like you can't control them real time. You just have to throw, and they just glide on their own. But of course, later I got to know that even I can tweak some things, and I can control those movements as well. Like uh, like like you can trim some ailerons and throw if you want to make a loop and those things. But yeah, so in later when I got into IIT, my seniors introduced me to RC planes. So there I got to know that yeah, I can actually control a RC plane. I don't need to don't need to buy a new plane, a big aircraft, and learn learn piloting to make things fly. But yeah, I can fly. I can control real time planes using my fingertips. So actually, those are not fingertips. We control using thumb tips on our remote. So yeah, so that was the like. So when I first get to know about the aero modeling and flying RC planes, so that time it was like first I decided at very moment that yeah, this is the dream I want to live, and yeah, I think I need to seek more about the aero modeling and learn more about it. So but you all might be wondering how we can convert this into a convert this knowledge or the learning of aero modeling into our career. So let me share my experience, like how I use aero modeling in using my career during after I graduated from IIT Bombay. So in my first year, when seniors introduced me to RC planes, so that time it was even they'd introduce as in like a theoretical knowledge of the RC planes. Like they said, uh, the RC plane you can fly it, but they didn't even give us any demo. Like this this is how you can fly RC plane. This is how you will see when it will fly. So they provided a simulator, real flight. I think most of you have tried that real flight simulator. Uh, Even they provided a mentor to help us in designing one of the RC planes. So me and my friend Pankaj, we actually started building, and took us around 8 days to build that RC plane. So one fine day, and we were simultaneously we were practicing on the uh, on the simulator as well. So after when after 8 days, when our plane was ready and we were able to, we had a good hands-on experience over the simulator as well. So we went to when we went for flying the Gymkhana grounds, and it was like you can say the first time we were experiencing that we were going to fly. It was like, when you first ride your own first bicycle. So that was like the feeling was like that only. So even I was I don't know how, but I still remember the time when I got my first flight. So it was like 9:30 in the morning, and it just rained before that. So yeah, it was a raining day of the September. Uh, so we start. So I asked my friend Pankaj to throw it, and he threw it. He threw it for the takeoff, but so even it flew, but it flew only for 10 seconds. So it was sad that it flew only 10 seconds, and it crashed right into the tree near the oscillate. And I guess everyone must have faced this, the crash. Whenever they fly, the crash is going to happen, at least for first flight. But yeah, so we didn't lose our hope, so because that 10 second was really amazing, because the plane was in my control, not it was not flying on their in its own. So yeah, so we started. Uh, so the process. So we thought, if we can fly for 10 seconds, we can make it fly for more seconds and more minutes. So like we went back and we make some improvements in the design, and we tried on more practice more and more on the simulator. Yeah, so then we went again. So later, with time, with practice, with improvement in design as well, we were able to like fly for 12 minutes at one go, not in just one minutes of flight, but yeah, in one go we were able to fly for 12 minutes. So so I was loving this process of the whole process of building, flying, crashing, and then again rebuilding. So, so I wanted to learn more in aero modeling and want to get involved in the aero modeling. So to stay in the aero modeling, I thought aero modeling club would be the best thing to stay in this. So I become in second year I become the convener of the club, and then in third year I become the aero modeling club manager. So during that year, even I conducted many workshops and events. I conducted a workshop for first year student, which we always do. So, but before my tenure, so it was like always 10 to 9 teams which used to come to participate for this workshop or competition from the first year. So at that time the number raised to 40. So 40 teams from the first year came for this workshop and competition. So being a manager, I was able to like share my this skill, and I was able to uh, train the students of IIT Bombay. But I thought, why not? Why just students of IIT Bombay get this chance? Why not the other people of maybe not RC plane, maybe some part of aero modeling like building the gliders. And so I started giving workshop outside the school, outside the campus, in some schools and or some coaching institutes. Even that time I thought that it's a good business plan for me as well. So when everybody was preparing for their placements, I was planning in my head to start a startup based on air modeling workshop. But that didn't went well. So I didn't prepare it well. I didn't plan it well. So I was not able to work on it. But later in that fourth year only, so I met one of my partner. Prasanna Chevry, who was pursuing PhD in aerospace department. So, and he knew Apurva Godbole, who was 2008 graduate from civil department, and we discussed about like starting. We all three have similar passion for the flying. So even Apurva bought the very first Phantom One in when it released in 2012. He had that and he lost it in China actually. It just flew away when he was flying over some place. So with that time we thought let's start a drone company. That time um, one of the very first application that comes to everybody's mind about drones is aerial cinematography, and it was booming at that time. So we thought let's make a product on for aerial cinematography. So we built a octocopter, which could carry 5 kgs of payload. So including DSLR camera and a gimbal to stabilize. But yeah, so even me. But meanwhile, one guy from I don't know somewhere released a fake video of pizza delivery using drone, which panicked DGC and he banned all drone operations in the India. Like nobody can use any drones for this for anything actually. It was all banned. So then so that was the like end of our second idea because we can't start our startup based on some illegal. So we could able to fly without knowing and without letting to know any government authorities. But it's not a good point to start a startup based on illegal things. Otherwise, it will always go inside it. So yeah, so even after that, the government authorities were allowed to use drones for their activities. So we thought let's start working with government authorities. So we tried working with fire department, Kumbh Mela authorities in Nasik, then in with some mining companies, with some lifeguard agencies, but they were not ready to work with us because we were new and we were not able to show any prototype to them in that less amount of time. So, but as you can see, the all of these applications, the fire department, the mining company, the Kumbh Mela for surveillance, for lifeguard agency, all of these have different requirements. All of these industries have different requirements. But there is one common thing in that is drone. They require drone for their specific use. So it took us like a year to realize that while we making any application, the drone application or any experiment, most of our time and money was consumed in just to make it fly, and we were not able to focus on the main application that we want to develop. So the idea of innovation that came into our mind, and we thought, why don't we just make a drone platform for students, for developers, for thinkers, so they can focus more on developing that application rather rather worrying about to just to make it fly. So that's where our current product Pluto came out. So it is a it has a hardware modular hardware, almost I won't say open source but almost open source software, and the learning content content around it. So so that was the so we are we so we came up with Pluto, and Pluto is Dronai, my company Dronai, which is one of the only nano drone manufacturing company in India. So yeah, so that's how we use our skills, the knowledge, the learning of aero modeling to build our business in it. See, I was a good pilot, I can say that actually, and my partner was good in building those things. So aeromodeling is all about building and flying. It could be drones, it could be planes, or it could be any aircraft. So we use those learnings to make our business. So even one of my earlier business idea about conducting aero modeling workshop, I couldn't do that time, but now we are empowering such businesses using Pluto. So they use Pluto to conduct aero modeling workshop. Yeah, I guess we can consider drone workshop as a aero modeling workshop as well. Yeah. So even most of our features of Pluto, be the modularity, be the do it yourself, be the API programming, all came from those learnings from the aero modeling. So this was like me. We use aero modeling in our business or in my career option, but where you can use it. So what could be your option in this career wise? The- Actually, there are many. Actually, there are many because uh, almost every month you might be hearing about more technologically advancement in UAV industry. There are many UAV applications which are already there, be it aerial cinematography, mapping, drone delivery, inspection of mines, pipelines, road mapping, precision agriculture, and many more. And many more will come definitely. Even if we just start discussing it right here, we will come possibly at least 50 more useful application, right? Correct. So surely this industry is going to grow with more applications will bring the scope of many technological advancement in the UAVs. And in turn, it will increase the possible career opportunities for all in UAV industry in coming future. So I remember when we started drone aviation, there were only 8 to 10 drone companies in India, but right now there are at least 60 drone companies in India, and they are all are doing different variety of no, they all are doing variety of works. You're providing services based on aerial cinematography. Some are providing mapping. Some are providing precision agriculture. Some are manufacturing. Some are providing uh, services manufacturing drones for defense, like Idea Forge is doing. So if we specifically talk about career opportunity in this industry, I can surely categorize them in three major areas. I can see your future in those career opportunities. First of all is UAV pilots. You would require to so in first of all is UAV pilots. So besides flying drones, you would require to understand what the task of the drone. That is important. You might have to inspect pipelines. You might have to take a beautiful aerial shots, where to monitor bridges or deliver packages. So all of these applications will require you to learn distinct flying skills, not just that if you are a FPV racer pilot, you need to have a different flying skills, right? So yeah, so even the second category which I can define where you will see most of you working on it, even where we are working as well, is building and developing UAVs. Uh-huh. That is actually developing that actually developing drone product. So building and developer, they are drone related carriers. There are bulk of drone related carriers in the even according to BCG's estimate, uh, by 2050, the US and Europe drone fleet might will have at least 1 million units of drones for different applications. So somebody has to build it, and that it could be you actually, like we are doing it. You could also do that. Uh, the development of drones required a variety of skill set actually. So it could be aeronautics, robotics, software, AI, mechanical engineering. It is not just for aerospace engineers that is flies and it's just for aerospace engineering, but that's not the case. I guess this is the one of the industry which involve people of almost every engineering department. even few applications require non-engineer people as well. So the third part is providing UAV services, which most of our Indian companies are doing. Like they are procuring drones from somewhere, but they are providing. So they are that is also one of the real big market. So they are taking data using the drones, but they are using an you can say an add-on softwares over this, so they can use the data into like the application precision agriculture. So they map just take the photos like aerial cinematography, but they are using that data in some other applications like precision agriculture. Then firefighting could be one of the things. Then third one is providing UAV service. So even yeah, so application like pipeline inspection, precision agriculture. Even most of the Indian companies are based on that they are providing services over drone. So yeah, I guess that's it from my side. I can say.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Aman, as Roshni introduced me. So let's start with the questions that we might have from the audience, as well as some curated questions that we have for you. Okay. So it's a request to the audience that they can ask their questions in the chat. Okay. So my first question is, what is your learning philosophy? Now that you have been a part of both the hands-on experience, it is the aeromodeling club and other activities, as well as the theoretical aspects in your field. So, what do you believe at this point of time should be the approach for such things?
So yeah, so my it's my personal learning actually. So I believe in doing things and then I believe in doing things like if you can see that why planes have a airfoil like this, why don't they have airfoil inverted airfoils? So even in my third year I tried to make a plane which had inverted airfoil. So I believe in doing things and then make it happen actually.
Okay.
Okay,
Nice.
have I answered your question?
Yeah, I guess yes. Also, how useful was your experience of flying drones and planes in ID Bombay while designing and ideating the Pluto?
Oh, it was really useful. So till my fourth year, I didn't actually fly. I tried flying drone only once actually. So then present when we built this bigger one, the octocopter, or almost I guess it was 1.5 meter of diameter. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
flew it and I practiced on it directly. And sometimes it went over our Powai Lake actually. One of the time it went Powai Lake. So that flying experience was because of that I got some flying experience. While building Pluto, we had that feeling that uh, so, so it should not be like it should be able to a person should who is trained pilot should be able to fly, but everybody should be able to fly because we wanted to build that platform where you don't need to worry about flying or making that flying platform, the drone, but you need to work on the add-on your work, the application, the extra part that you are going to add on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the flying experience. So one of the feedback that came for Pluto designing Pluto was from us only. So yeah, yes.
Okay. So we have one question from the audience here. Talking about your startup, it's very difficult to. Okay, by the way, the question is from Bhavni Jaloka. So the question is, it's very difficult to make such a decision, and it takes a lot of courage to do so. Talking about your startup. So, what was the one thing that kept you motivated despite all the faults, and how did you manage your team finances?
Okay. So So what was the first question? I think she asked two questions, right?
Yeah. So first question was, what was the one thing that kept you motivated despite all the faults? And the second is, how did you manage your team finances?
Okay. So one of the common thing which is there in all three of us is the passion for flying. So even even still, if I'm feeling low and like I'm not seeing any future, like a instant future, I just fly Pluto. It just cherishes my mind, and I just see that yeah, we can do positive, we can do good in future. So that was one of the flying, the passion for flying was one of the common thing in us, and which make us move forward every time we fail. Yeah. And finances, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So initially we put our own money in that, and we were not still, actually we weren't funded, we are not well funded. But uh, when in the initial 1.5 years, when we lost most of our money in building the octocopter, so that time we realized that workshop could be one of the things which can keep funding us. So actually we started conducting drone workshops. So even the idea of Pluto keeping DIY came from there. So our startup is actually funded by customers only.
Yeah. So one of the other question that I had is, you're helping people get started and pave their paths into this field. Currently, now that almost everyone knows that Pluto is a platform for the learners, the ones who want to experiment out with stuff.
Yeah.
So, being such a person in your engineering life itself, how difficult was it for you to get started with the hobby of drones and other RC planes, considering that the Indian drone community was just starting out then?
Yeah.
What were the technical challenges that you had to face?
Okay. Uh, what are the technical challenges we have to face, right?
Yeah, while getting started with the drone culture itself, and the hobby.
Uh, one of the major thing was the procurement of the component, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and working on the flight controller. Even for our first octocopter for drone aviation, we start initially we used APM for that. So I'm not the good software or coding guy, but the Prasanna was working on it. So even after working on it for 2 to 3 months of working on it, so it was not reliant for us. So once it was working fine, and another time it was not working. So flight controller was one of the issue for us. So that's why even in Pluto we designed our own flight controller.
Okay. So we have a question from Abbas Barwaniwala. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. So the question is, what is your ideology of the startup? What is the startup about?
Okay. So it came from our past experiences, that whenever we try to build any applications, even as a developer or as a student of colleges, when engineering colleges, we see that most of our time went into the making the drone flying. If I want to make a aerial cinema, if I want to make a you can say drone for agriculture, right? So my task is not just to fly the drone, but to gather the data and process it. So we want to make that platform, so you don't have to spend your time to just to make it fly. So that is the ideology behind this, to create that ecosystem that uses this, so that create this ecosystem, so everybody, any tinkerer or developer can start working on it and make drone applications in India.
Okay. So another question is, since you are initially into RC planes, this question is by Akhilesh Ranjan, and the question is that since you are initially into RC planes and you only uh, got some hands-on experience with drones in your, I guess, fourth year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the transforming point for going from RC planes to drones? Why not do something in RC planes?
Why not? So, so, so drones are actually stable, just better than RC planes. So it depends on application actually. If I want to do an aerial cinematography, I can't keep, because the RC planes will need to keep moving ahead, right?
Yeah.
So that depends on application wise. So we see more application for drones than RC planes. So that's the even so. But still, I love flying RC planes better than
Yeah.
drones actually, because there is no fun. So it,
Yeah.
it just stabilizes itself. So that don't thrill me yet. That's why I used to come IIT Bombay to fly RC planes.
Right. Following up on this, you do come still to IIT Bombay to enjoy aero modeling and flying.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
could you share an experience that is close to your heart about any flying incident that happened with you or your friends?
Uh, so one of the uh, incident I just shared in my talk, like the first flight. That was one thing, but yeah. So we were working with MAV Labs, the Prasanna. And you might have heard about Asim Borkar and
Yes.
Sarup Hangal. So they were working, and there were more people there in the lab. So they were working on one of the B2 design. So this is a delta triangle, and they so one of the major issues they were facing was the throwing. So how can we take off it by throwing? Because every time we tried, every person tried throwing it, but they were not able to throw it properly. So we make a small, you can say, funny video to throw it, how to throw a B2 plane in for takeoff.
Okay.
And obviously eagles there in IT Bombay. They
Yeah.
once they
Yeah.
once actually put their claw over my head. Even
Yeah.
I was afraid for almost 1 month, and I didn't go for flying.
Okay. So, talking about your product, the Pluto, can you give an insight into the different experiments with Pluto before you could come up with the final version?
The number of experiments.
Yeah, all the things that you tried before you could come up with the final version of Pluto.
So I would say it's not final yet actually. So
Okay.
first of the prototypes, actually it came in uh, October 2015. So I laser cutted the frame, because the laser cut the frame, and the first flight controller was based on Clean Flight. Actually, the firmware it is based on Clean Flight, but yeah. So even for the when we first flown it, we were not aware that we were flying in rate mode. So even only I was able to fly. So they were not, others were not able to fly. But later we get to know that we were actually flying in rate mode. I think you know
Yeah.
how it's different. And I guess, yeah,
That's
you fly in rate
yeah.
mode mostly. So
That's
from
that's how the
2015,
FPV is.
yeah. So till now,
Yeah.
in the frame design, it's almost, I guess, 60 to 70 versions have passed. We have done 60 to 70 versions with different materials. First with balsa, then with the PCs, then we injection molded it. Initial versions, I think we sold around 200 units of Pluto with the laser cut of polycarbonate sheet. And even for flight controller, five versions have already gone, and we are coming up with a sixth version now. So which will also support the optic flow. So I think if for a product it never ended, because with the time you get to know that there are different requirements for it. Like earlier we were not thinking, if in first version didn't have the pressure barometer, actually pressure sensor,
Yeah.
and currently we are thinking of that optic flow sensor is also necessary. So the requirements will keep growing with the time. So I don't think it will be ever be a finished product for the future, actually.
Okay. So coming to the real question that we like the hobbyists always have since the last 3 to 4 months, ever since the DGCA launched the digital sky policy. So, what is your stance on the current DGCA proposals under the policy? Because right now it requires all the pilots to actually register their drones first of all. Then in those drones, there are categories within the weight limits. So earlier it was not as strict for the sub 250 grams category where
Yeah.
the Pluto falls actually. But right now also they have some other extra requirements for that category as well. So how are you planning to tackle those?
So I think recently there is one draft came out, right, from the
Yeah.
DGCA for this. Yeah, so even that's not final. Even we are, as a drone industry community, we also keep talking to them, and we also propose some things which we should. So it should not hurt the hobby market as well, right?
Right.
Because otherwise people will stop working on it. Even in the colleges, like you are working on it and flying it. So we keep talking to DGA about this, the Ministry of Home and Civil Aviation as well, and proposing our view on that right now.
Okay. So a follow up on this is actually a question from Jigyasu Chand. It's about the license for the drone pilots. So, since DGCA doesn't offer a license for drones, is there any way to hold a UAV pilot's license in India? Like, in other words, can a person in India hold a UAV pilot's license offered by a civil aviation authority or any other country?
From any other country?
Yeah.
I don't think they can. It won't be applicable here right now, I guess. If they got the license from the different.
And even if you get a license from India, it's not applicable in other countries, right?
Yeah.
So there is some miscommunication, or like there is not much transparency between the international regimes. So
I don't think I don't think they have thought about that thing, actually.
yeah. Okay.
I think there is no mention even in the regulations front as well.
So is this something that's going to how seriously or how badly is it going to affect the hobby in the coming time? The whatever DGCA is planning right now. For people who want to get started.
Obviously, if they will regulate and keep such rules, it will obviously hurt the hobbies market, because the students, or even actually students, the hobby market is mainly driven by students only. So they won't take too much effort to like register the drone, then register the drone, take a pilot license, and then I think they also proposed about the making sharing the flight plan before flying that. So those are too much things for anybody who
Yeah.
want to fly just
Right.
for fun. But if I want to fly, I won't plan it like tomorrow I will fly. I will just fly. I will just go and fly first, right?
Yeah.
That's what hobby is about. Hobby is not about plan that I will go someday there.
Yeah.
So it will definitely affect the hobby market.
Okay. So before we move on to the next question, actually, Roshni will be floating a feedback form in the chat. So a gentle request to the audience: you can take a look at the feedback form and then fill it. Thank you. So right now, Yash will be taking the rest of the questions. Yes, over to you.
So Dinesh, I'll having be some questions regarding the market structure of drone industry. So let's get started for the first question. Are you able to you're able to listen, right? I'm
Sorry.
audible, right?
Yeah, you are audible, but a bit. Your voice is
Okay,
break.
yeah, great. So like as you mentioned in your first 15 minutes that in the past decade, a lot of drone companies have come up in the various fields. So like they contribute to aerial photography, mapping is there, then cinematography is there, and they are contributing to both private and public sector. Like recently, we had a Zomato uh, taking over some drone company. So where do you think is Indian UAV industry placed in terms of in comparison to other countries?
Sorry, can you repeat last word?
Yeah. So what my question is that where is Indian drone industry in terms of technology placed as compared to the other countries?
Okay. How should I say it? So currently, I guess Indians are actually using that technology, not developing like other countries. So we are, if on the scale of 10, 10 is like doing really good work on developing those technology. We are at least 5 actually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we need to still work on the development of the technology.
Yeah, maybe college students and projects they are working on it, but bringing that technology to the industry, it's not happening that much because most of the drone company, if you will see, they are using the technology that so they are using as a service, right?
Okay.
Like most of
Okay.
the companies are aerial cinematography
Okay.
or they are just mapping, so they are collecting the data, but they are not doing any research or development over there.
Okay. So a follow-up on question on this is that like in the coming years, like 5 to 10 years, uh, what R&D and applications do you see in the market coming in the market? Like where is the
Yeah,
demand?
application is also definitely warehousing is going to, so because even we received 3 4 inquiries from different warehousing companies about this requirement that they want to. Even I saw one of there is one by CH Logistics, so they are using drones in Singapore at least, not in India, but they are using Singapore. So warehousing and inventory management, that's almost same. The warehousing and inventory management is going to come. Plus, uh, about delivery, I don't know. I'm not more optimistic about delivering packages, but yeah, delivering in emergency conditions is already doing. Some people are already doing, but yeah, they will. This will flourish more in coming future.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
So there is a question from one of the audiences, and
Yeah.
the question is that where does Drona Aviation plan to see itself in the next 5 years? Like what is Drona Aviation working on currently, and what new technologies is they applic? What is the applications of Drona Aviation in the industry?
Okay. Yeah. So with the vision we had, like developing that drone platform, we want to come up we want to come up with the different So we want our tinkerers, our developers to come up with different ideas, and we can make a product with them. Even we want different brands to use our drones and use our platform, the flight controller or our design, our technology to use different products for them. Maybe so even we keep improving in our platform. Like recently we come up with you can actually use our flight controller for a micro drone. So before that it was only used for to run the brushed motors. So that can be used only in nano drones, but now it can be used for micro drone as well. So we see that one of the, as a nano drone manufacturing company, we see one of the major application we are looking for it is the actually inventory management.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question which I have is that, so generally this unmanned aerial uh, vehicle business is viewed that it has a lot of inventory involved in it, and so it's an inventory and warehouse intensive business. Like a lot of spare parts needs to be arranged and other stuff in order to support the customer base. So generally, do the investors, so does it create a barrier for the investors to invest in the UAV industry, because they can invest the same amount of money in software industry or service industry to get better gains? So is that a barrier currently?
Yeah, so that's what we are facing from last 4 years actually. So even we just had a one small round of funding, and so everybody is concerned about this hardware industry. So that what what how can I say that? Mm, mm. So they are kind of afraid about this hardware industry. They want to put their money in the software industry where they don't have to put money in the capital to, because here I need to sell a one Pluto. I need to have a money before that, right? I can't say that customer, I will give you Pluto, you just pay money in advance, right? So yes, it is creating barriers. Of being a hardware company here, and most of the companies who work in this field, not just drones but the any hardware field, face these issues, at least in India.
Okay. So the follow-up question is that, is the attitude changing over there? Is like, as more and more made in India concept is coming, is the attitude of the investors changing, or has it remained the same?
So recently I haven't seen any differences in their behavior right now, but
Okay.
maybe in future they will see, because with the Make in India concept they will see that they will we as a hardware company will have a more market to capture here, right?
Okay. So the next question which I have is that, uh, since UAV industry is again a manufacturing intensive business, so do most of the companies in India, and is Drona Aviation also outsourcing their manufacturing to some other country?
So we are not outsourcing manufacturing, but we are outsourcing few components,
Okay. So like electric components.
like the
Uh,
ICs and the resistor capacitors which go on the flight controller. Plus
okay.
battery we are outsourcing, because we are not able to find any good manufacturer here in India. Even most of the battery manufacturer in India use they procure cells from outside India and they just assemble the cells.
And in general, for the drone industry in India, are most of the companies outsourcing these chips and the hardware part of it?
Yeah, yeah. Even not just for drones, but they are procuring for other components as well. Like you might have heard recently that Carbon Mobiles, who manufacture mobiles for India actually. So they procure most of the components from the China. So they
Okay.
are facing issue with this Indo-China issue as well.
Right. Right. But given the recent events where Prime Minister has said that we have to be vocal for local. So how do you see the manufacturing of these components which are generally outsourced? How do you see this manufacturing industry growing in India? So for example, let's take UAV industry, UAV industry in specific. So how do you see in the next few years the manufacturing being set up in India so that all the components are indigenous in nature?
So, uh, I I'm not able to imagine that how and when they will start manufacturing at least those ICs and those electronic components. So motors and batteries. I think someone will start. Even I read somewhere that some company has collaborated with DRDO and using their technology, or DRDO using their technology to develop batteries. So batteries and because the manufacturing of ICs required a lot of capital and establishment to make. So even and I haven't heard anybody trying to do that in India. Recently, the Foxconn was supposed to set up in India. Then they were going to use those to make ICs and another electronic components. But I don't think that right now they will go because Foxconn is also again a Chinese company.
Okay. Uh, so like a follow-up question in this regard is that uh, how can the government help in making this change happen? Like, what do you think is can the government implement some policies in order to make this change happen?
Or I think they need to invest in some of the companies mm, to make these establishments. That's the best I can see right now.
Okay.
Or at least the IC components. Or they can
That,
one of the public sector company can start working on it.
so that capital barrier which is there, they need to invest so that that barrier is not present essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And one of the audience has the question that uh, what is the current market share of drone aviation in the industry, in the Indian market?
Uh, market share, market share. I can't say that, but I don't know actually that how many are buying those models. So it depends on how I am categorizing it. If if say uh, I am for Pluto. Pluto is a kit for developers. Okay, so it goes in most of the robotics labs of schools. And one of the competitor for us for that people are replaced people are using instead of Pluto is Talo. But the proposition that we are giving is much different than the Talo. But the schools are not aware about it because they procure whatever their distributor is asked to like take it. So if I consider only the school market which are using drones in robotics lab, I would say 60% at least.
Okay, so I'll end with a final question from my side. Uh, what advice do you have for the young engineers and innovators who are looking to pave their way into the UAV industry?
So one of the major we learn from our experience is even it's not just for UAV industry but for anybody who want to work or start something or anything. But you need to you don't come up with solution and then find a problem. You first focus on problem that and understand it that is it really required. uh, like in drones, so drones are so fascinating that we want to put it inside every problem. Like if I say I want to comb my hair, I will just imagine that drone will comb my hair, right? So such applications, so don't go for such applications, but think of it like if there is a problem, like if you will say for delivery, so delivering a pizza, I don't think it makes sense. But the delivering and medical equipment or medicines makes sense. So understand the problem first. Don't put your solution in and find the problem. So that is one of the thing. Even your for college projects or your college project or ITSP projects or anything. So try to work on problem first, and yeah, majorly that. And for even what if you start a startup or anything, so just you need to find a correct team, because and correct team, and those should not be of same perspective. You need to, in your team you need to have different perspective. Even today we all three fight for different perspectives. Like one say yes and other two say no for such a thing. So for having a different perspective for us, one thing is really important, because you, if we think once anything about any say if anything, we want to pursue that thing only, right? अगर मैंने बोला कि हाँ यही ठीक है, तो it will stay in mind that yeah, this is right only. But if anybody from your team will say no, this is wrong, then you will think about the different other aspects as well. So yeah.
I'm done with the questions from my side. Is there any question which the audience would like to ask now? You can just put the questions in the chat box. Okay, so I don't see any extra questions. So yeah, Dinesh, thank you for giving us a great session about the aerial innovations, and it was a very insightful session, and I hope everyone enjoyed a lot. I have personally gained a lot from it, and I hope the audience enjoyed it, and uh, it helped them in getting an idea how to convert their idea into the reality in the field of UAV. So if there are no questions, I would like to again say thank you to Dinesh and end this.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me here. Now, even if anybody have any questions later, or they want to bring their idea into reality related to drones, they can always approach us. So we will try to help you, and we can collaborate with you for developing that project as well.
Okay. Yeah, great. So also I would like to thank the panelists Aman Malekar and Roshni and the ITC team for organizing this event. So yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Okay. Yep. Bye.